Namato Ratanatayasa. May I pay homage to Triple Zem, the Buddha, Dhamma, and the Sangha. My respect goes to my parents and my teachers. Hello everyone. Today is Sunday, the 17th of May 2020. This is Achan Sujan from Varapunya Meditation Center. As usual, I am here with you on tonight, and I hope that this Sunday you have enjoyed. Hello Margaret, hello Suresh from Nepal. So I'm just catching up with everyone. Right. So today is the 17th of May 2020. The Sunday, it's been a very busy day. We had a morning meditation session until 11 o'clock, and then we had a short break and for the lunch, and was preparing for this evening's meeting, Interfaith Mindful Day. And this Interfaith Mindful Day, initially it was planned to have it at the center as a third year Mindful Day, in which the different faith groups will come and share in different topics of each year and practice meditation together. So this year's topic was sleep and relax. And due to there are significant number of people finding difficult to sleep, and as a result, the Scottish government have this theme of the year, asleep. And in line with that, the Aberdeen Interfaith Group also took this as a theme for this year's Interfaith Mindful at the center. But unfortunately, due to this Corona COVID-19, COVID-19, we had to cancel, but chose to do it on Zoom, online. And somehow technology you cannot believe in. There is uncertainty of the technology. So we've been trying for almost an hour to get into and inviting everyone to join in, but we couldn't. Finally, there were only 3 people joined in after an hour of trying. So, and then later we have decided to postpone it for next week. So next week Sunday again we'll be having this Interfaith Mindful Day at 4 o'clock, and hopefully this time it works. This time it works. So that is until again 6 o'clock, and now here I am with you again. So this has been a really busy day for me, and here with you all to be sharing some of the thoughts and whatever comes along the way. And then one of the a few days ago I was attending another Zoom meeting, Scottish Interfaith Zoom meeting, and there was one question about what is your neighbor's reaction to the COVID, and what have you learned new skills. And in relation to the neighbors' response, or neighbors dealing with this COVID-19, I think you could look around and have a careful thought about your neighbors, that what they are doing. and what you have learned new skills during this time. For me, I felt like there are a significant number of walkers around our center grown up significantly, and every day we can see probably 10 pairs of families coming. So as a result, and they are also more of a like say hello and hi, is that way, and that's the neighbors. And then in terms of what I have learned, new skills, well, frankly saying, I was hesitant to go online and speaking alone, as I said yesterday, alone on a screen. Now this become very used to with me now. So lockdown, Corona has forced me to be online and giving these talks, and so learning new skills to give a talk. So this being the interfaith meeting and discussion I had. I had an email asking about I think I have spoken about the positions of the Buddha, and later I was told that the position of the Buddha that I spoke was the status of the Buddha, whereas the question was, you can see different postures of the Buddha, and what are the significance of different postures of the Buddha, and that was the question. So I thought in this relationship to that, tonight I will try my best to explain different postures of the Buddha and what are the significance of it. So whenever you see the Buddha in different postures, then you can relate to it. So basically, during the time of the Buddha, no one created any replica of the Buddha. So that's why there are no such replica of the Buddha statue that directly similar to the Buddha, the historical Buddha. And the history says that after the Greek invasion in India, and that time, in Greek already they were making statues as a form of displaying their power and displaying their eternity. So when the Greeks arrived in India, and they also created the statues of their leaders and their faithful ones, and that's how the Buddha's statue also began. When we look at the history during the time of the King Asoka, after Buddha passed away around 300 years later, even the King Asoka didn't replicate the Buddha in any form. So whenever he had to express the faith, then he simply used the will, and then both sides the deers. Significance of giving the first discourse. So, and that's become a symbol of first Buddhist art. And later, after the Gandhara, or after the Greeks' invasion in India, gradually the statues began to build in the name of the Buddha. And that's how different Buddhas, different postures of the Buddha gradually developed in Buddhism. And some times ago I was asked why there are so huge Buddha and some people will build very small Buddhas. And my response was that although humans are very small, but their heart is very big, and based on their faith they have created such a huge monuments and huge Buddha statues around wherever they could possibly build it. And that's how we have different sizes of the Buddha around. And we can hear a couple of years ago when the Taliban was governing the Afghanistan, and the Taliban government destroyed such a huge ancient standing Buddha in Afghanistan, despite the UN and other nations objected. The Taliban destroyed that Buddha, which was about around 1500 years old. The Buddha statue was carved inside the big mountain. So these are simply displaying the faith and great heart towards their teacher, our beloved the teacher who had shown the path to the liberation. And in line with that, human nature is such that we always need somewhere to be feeling safe, or someone to take a refuge on. And with that, as a result, when we look at the human history, all the religion and faith developed simply to satisfy and to feel safe and to feel guarded. And as a result of that, people in ancient time will pay respect to the trees and mountains and the rivers, even the crossroads, like that. And I remember when I was young, even in Nepal, even now is still there, these sort of so-called animistic way of rituals still going on. And I used to go early morning during the winter time, along with the villagers, pay respect, have a shower at the two rivers joining, and then having a shower and paying respect to the deities and gods and like that, and simply for the safety and prosperity of our family. In the meanwhile, whenever something happens, again, family members will gather and do the ceremony, and that ceremony will be finished at the crossroads. So these were simply a form of paying or worshipping towards something that we do not know, we do not see, and hoping that it brings us safety and prosperity in our families. And that was the reason why different times and different people developed, in accordance with their faith, developed the statues and the different statues to venerate. And this is also same with the Buddhism too. You can see the Buddha sitting, with both hands on a lap, in a meditative state, and that signifies the day when he was enlightened. So he was meditating in a calm and serene, and this Buddha statue being very, very famous, and one could see immediately that this is the position that the Buddha was meditating and also inspiring us to meditate. And there is another Buddha. You could see that one hand is on the lap, the left hand is on the lap, and the right hand is just touching the ground. And that is again signifies the Buddha statue this is when he was meditating before his enlightenment. At that time, the so-called Mara, or the Satan, came and asked him that what do you have proof that you have done so many merits and so many good things in previous lives, so you are capable or you have qualities to be the Buddha. And at that time, Buddha didn't have anything to prove that he had done good things in the past. So all what he could think was the earth, Mother Earth. So he touched the Mother Earth with his right hand and told to the Satan or the Mara that I cannot give you any empirical proof, but I have this earth as my proof. So he touched the earth, and the scripture says that as soon as he touched the earth, Mother Earth shaken, and further development of the story came was the goddess of water, the Ganga. She came and flooded all around where the Satan was there, and that's how. So this statue basically signifies he is not the Buddha yet, but in line, in a few moments later, he will be the Buddha. So it's called Bhumi Sparsa Mudra, means the touching the earth position. So this is the second one, and you can see there is a lying Buddha. Okay, so lying Buddha, again, there are two stories going on with the lying Buddha, just simply lying down. And normally when the Buddha lie down, he normally puts his right hand, and he puts right hand and then sleeps, lie down. The one story was to overcome to overcome one of the Brahma's ego, that he thought that human beings are small and very stinky, and as being a celestial being, we are greater than the human beings. So having seen that, having known this Brahma, the celestial being's mentality, the Buddha lie down and displayed his the massiveness towards this great Brahma, the Brahma God. And here the Brahma God was surprised to see such a big sleeping Buddha, just like one ant seeing an elephant. So he was shaken, and he destroyed his ego by seeing the Buddha laying down. And so that is a form of destroying the Brahma God's ego. So that's the lying down. And another picture or another statue you could see as a similar lying down is basically the time when Buddha passed away. Yeah. So at the last day, last moment of his passing day, he lie down in that way. Okay, and you could see these are different Buddhist statues around, and among these there are also Buddha statues created for each individuals, those who were born on different days. Like suppose you're born on a Sunday, you have a Buddha statue for belongs to those who are born on a Sundays, Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesday, Thursday, and Fridays, like that. So that's why you can see in different some temples that there are 8 Buddhas, different positions or different postures of the Buddha displayed, and in front of that there will be a small bowl to give a donation. So that is again in a form of a giving for the security to satisfy our human psychology, that we always need something somewhere who is greater and who we can rely on as a refuge, take a refuge. It's like a baby needed a father or parents to give us a security, and the more we grow up in this society, and in order to find the spiritual security, we look for some form of divine things. And that's how in Buddhism as well it was developed in line with the astrology, the ancient tradition, or so-called the human psychology, in order to satisfy the human psychology, these things developed. So and as a result of that, every days that there are different Buddha statues. It happened that a couple of years ago I have compiled a book. So this book, and this is in Nepalese, unfortunately. So this book tells you the different Buddhas for different birthdays. Okay, and then this is basically eight Buddhas, and each Buddhas depends on who were born. Like there is for the Sundays, and this is the Sundays Buddha. Okay, Sundays Buddha, and simply the Buddha is standing and both hands are just at the front, and this Buddha is simply showing the gratitude towards the Bodhi tree that I have mentioned another day, the Bodhi tree, which is the tree under which the Buddha was enlightened. And so Buddha was simply so grateful to have this tree under which he was become enlightened. And this is for the Monday. Okay, this is those who born on Monday will have this Buddha statue as their Buddha, spiritual Buddha. And this again is about the fight between brothers or family members, and at that time the Buddha simply went and stopped by saying that between water, and the fight was over the water for the cultivation of plants in the field. So the Buddha simply asked them between water and blood, which one is more valuable. And then once the Buddha's relatives replied that the blood is more valuable than the water, and that's how the war between brothers were ended, and that was the one. And for the Tuesdays, and that's a sleeping Buddha, and that sleeping Buddha, basically the story behind is that those who born on the Tuesdays normally they have more egos. So a sleeping Buddha is simply a reminder that there are more knowledgeable or more capable than you are still there. So do not hold that ego displaying that you are the best. Okay? So Tuesdays, the sleeping Buddha. And then for the Wednesdays, and this Wednesdays is holding the bowl in his hand and walking simply. So it's a begging bowl holding, and this is again simply saying that, and this is a significant Buddha's statue for those who were born on Wednesday. And this is about if you are not invited, you shouldn't be going into the meetings or anywhere, and you should be more mindful and be gentle to your day-to-day life. Okay, so that's the Wednesday one. And a Thursday one is a meditative one. Okay, so this is a meditative one, a Thursday Buddha, those who born on Thursday. So this Buddha will be used as their protective Buddhas. And this is again about those who are born on the Thursdays normally have to work hard to get the success, and sometimes you may have to work in a level that nothing has been unturned, but it's still very difficult to get the success. And yet if you pursue on that path, and definitely you will get success. So that is the story behind of that Buddha statue. And for those who are born on Fridays, and that's again, it's a contemplative statue, and that's simply both hands are in this way. So it's the Buddha for the Friday, those who are born on Friday. And then there is the Friday, and the Saturday one is basically Saturday's Buddha is with the serpent, so protection from the serpent. And this story is comes from after Buddha was enlightened. After he enlightened, he was contemplating for 7 days in different vicinity around the Bodhi tree. And one of the nights he was meditating, and there was a massive rainfall storm, and this serpent just came out and protect the Buddha. And this means the story behind the Saturdays are very strong. Those who are born on Saturdays, they have a very strong-minded and very arrogant as well. And in that case, the statue simply suggesting that we always need someone beside us, or someone to help us for our success or for our safety. Although you may get the success, but you still need someone to help you, to keep you protected. So that is the story behind of that. And there's a special one again. This is the another Buddha statue. In this statue, there is a monkey and elephant looking after or giving service to the Buddha. And this is also known as someone who do not know the dates of when he was born, which day he was born, or sometimes it is also for those who were born on the night of a Wednesday night. Okay, and this is given as a service. And this is basically someone is always there to help us in line whenever we are in difficult time. And the last one is a meditative Buddha that I mentioned, and that meditative again can be used to all these Buddhas as the head. So meditative state of the Buddha, known as lives in a central and governs to all. So these are again based on the astrology and simply created by the artists and astrologists, simply to give us a security, a psychological security, and it's been in practice. And mostly it is still very famously practiced in Thailand, Myanmar, and Cambodia. And again, this is in line with the Hinduism that is developed, and that is also our human nature as a still animistic nature, and we always have that in a deeper brain or deeper mind. We still have that animal or the ancient animistic ritualistic way of feeling a security. So in line with that, the scholars of astrology and other seniors or ancestors have developed a way of giving you security, and as well as encouraging you to do more good things with these symbols of the Buddha in different postures and different forms. And in terms of this, again, as the modernity came, these again change, and these postures change in different positions developed. And recently I see the Buddha with the very calmly one hand up and just putting his hand on a chin or like that. So these is just the development. And the Buddha statue doesn't matter which position the Buddha statue is. And the Buddha, and when we look at the Buddha's teachings, if you remember a couple of nights ago I mentioned that it's not the Buddha which is important, but his teachings. And it is not how you pay respect by materials or incenses and flowers and worshipping to the Buddha, but the Buddha encouraged us to apply his teachings and understand it and free from all the problems that we have and so-called suffering, and shorten the life in this samsara. So I hope I have covered the question that was asked, and sufficient enough this information to help you to understand these different types of the Buddha statues you can find. To conclude it, all the Buddha statues been created by artists to satisfy their wish to feel comfortable. So with this, may you be happy and peaceful. So we are having a chanting and a meditation. You are most welcome to join in. If not, good night and see you tomorrow. Thank you. And thank you everyone for watching.